Sligo, has published his first novel. In fact, he published it himself. It's entitled A Year in Lisbon, and details about it can be found on the book's website, ayearinlisbon.com, and it's also on sale in Eason and Library Books in Sligo. Lurkin is a language teacher, writer and translator. He lived in Portugal in the 1990s, and it is this experience that has inspired him. He has been writing for decades and has many half-finished novels on his hard drive, but A Year in Lisbon is his first completed novel. It's a coming-of-age story, an examination of what it's like to live in a foreign country with all its challenges and excitement, its ups and downs. It's humorous and entertaining, a portrait of the city of Lisbon with all its history and charm. Indeed, Lurkin is a lover of all things Iberian. He's also deeply involved in the Spanish Society in Sligo. He spoke to me about his new book.
It's called A Year in Lisbon, and it's a novel, but it's kind of inspired by 3 years I spent living in Lisbon in the 1990s. So I was teaching English there, and the protagonist in the novel is an English teacher as well. So he kind of ends up in Lisbon. He wants to escape from Dublin. His life in Dublin has disappointed him, so he wants to just get out of Dublin, and he ends up in Lisbon teaching English. So the book is mainly about his kind of his main character is called Cian O'Dwyer, and his attempts to adapt really to living in a new city and a new country and doing a new job really. So it's kind of a process of adaptation.
Now, is there something autobiographical about that novel?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of people are asking me that. A lot of the background is autobiographical, and a lot of the characters would be inspired by people I met. But none of the events are really. I mean, none of the events actually happened. They're all just complete fiction. I mean, I just made the plot up really.
So you're from Sligo, Lurkin. You're a teacher of English. You're still teaching English, are you? Or?
Yeah, I teach English in the ETB here in Sligo. It used to be the DEC, it's now the ETB. I teach English as a foreign language. And I also teach Spanish with the Spanish Society, so I organise events with the Spanish Society and organise classes there too.
So you're certainly no stranger to the Iberian Peninsula, as it were, when it comes to matters of love.
I do like Iberia, yeah.
And just tell me about that year in Lisbon. What was it that inspired you or drove you to write the book?
Yeah, well, I mean, I spent 3 years in Lisbon actually in the kind of mid to late 90s, and I really love the city. I lived right in the centre, and it's a very historic city. It has a very strong personality, and it's made just a huge impression on me. So I think a lot of the experience of Cian in the book is, adapting to a new city, a new country, a new culture. They would be my experiences too, and I think a lot of people would identify with that. Anybody who's lived abroad in a different country would identify with some of these experiences, But the city itself made a big impression on me, and I think I put a lot of the city into the book itself. So I think that comes out as well in the book.
And what would that experience have been in the main? Was it one of excitement, challenge, difficulty?
Yeah, I think you put it quite well. I mean, all of that really. I mean, it was hugely exciting because again, it was all new, new language, new climate, food, everything. And it's also difficult as well. There's a lot of issues and problems with once you go and you live in a different country, you have to adapt to a lot. So it's an exhausting kind of process as well, adapting to a new country, and it's also very exciting as well. So, and I was in my 20s then, so it was a real formative time for me.
I think it's something that would appeal to a huge audience because you have such an amount of immigration from Ireland. I mean, you typically hear of America and Australia and New Zealand, but it doesn't matter where you go in the world, you have to adapt, you have to meet challenge, and you obviously encapsulate some of that in the novel.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely correct. I mean, I think not just, you won't have to have lived in Portugal to kind of to identify with that. I think anybody who's lived abroad or even spent any time abroad or travelled at all would identify with a lot of the experiences and the emotions of the main character goes through in the book. Yeah.
Now, how long did it take you to write the book? How did you? Did you write in the morning, the evening? Did you write in bursts? Did you write in stages? Tell me the practicalities. How did it work out?
Yeah, well, it was. It probably took about 2.5, 3 years, and I was involved in a writing group based in Carrick-on-Shannon, which helped me a lot. I think it kind of gave me a focus and a discipline. So I had to kind of keep writing. We met every month, and I had to keep writing, and it helped me to actually finish a novel because I'd written kind of half novels before and I never actually finished it. So this was the first one that I actually managed to finish. So that was important, I think. And you have to be kind of disciplined too. You have to kind of set aside an hour or so each night to try and do a bit. So yeah, it helps if you kind of get into a bit of a routine with it, I think, because I was working as well at the same time and stuff. So that's basically it. Kind of a routine over 2 or 3 years with the writing group really helped too, I think.
Now, as an English teacher, having written the book, I'm sure it certainly adds to your credibility with your students. You can always say to them, I've written the book. Many people, some people say people teach, other people wish they did write and never do write. You have done it. Have any of your students asked you about it, or do they know about it? Or
Well, no, I haven't really. I've only really started publicising it, and actually, to be honest, my students are they're obviously foreign students, so they're learning English. Some of them might be interested in reading it, but they might not be at the level yet to be reading novels in English. But yeah, I think they'd be interested in it, certainly.
They may have the same experiences as you had in Lisbon.
Well, exactly, yeah. I think that's very true. That's a good point.
Now, you're involved with the Spanish Society here in Sligo. Tell me about the society. How is it going? How many members has it? How often do you meet?
Yeah, well, we don't really have a kind of a regular meeting. We organise events, cultural events, talks and films and things like that, and classes as well. So we try and do that every month or two. And there's just a couple of people involved, Spanish and Irish people, volunteers, all of us. And we're just really involved with promoting the Spanish culture in Sligo. So I kind of started off in Portugal and drifted over to Spanish culture as well. I'm interested in the two places, but I'm at the moment within the Spanish Society I'm involved a lot in just promoting culture. We have quite a lot of we've got like nearly 1,000 people I think follow our Facebook page, and like 200 people on the mailing list and stuff. So we are an active society, and a lot of people kind of know us. Yeah.
And of course, historically, there has been a very strong link between Ireland and Spain. Going back to centuries.
Yeah, well, of course, the Armada Festival, and the 3 ships sunk off Strida, and all of that. That has brought a lot of people into Sligo from Spain, just culturally, and we've had a lot of connections with people connected with the Armada too. So I think that's a big connection for us.
So the typical question: you have written one book. Is there another one in your mind, or have you already started it?
Yeah, well, I've kind of half written the next novel, and I'm writing all the time. So it's just a matter of what I can get finished and what works, and I'm still working on stuff. So it's a matter of keeping at it and seeing what comes out at the end. It's not a quick process, so it takes a while.
During our conversation, Lorcan also spoke to me about the process of self-publishing.
It's kind of something I think a lot of people are increasingly more interested in, that people can just write a book themselves, and you can publish it very easily on Kindle in an ebook without any without any cost or any specialized knowledge. So
that's another very interesting aspect of the whole thing, Lorcan, because in the past you had people at the mercy of publishers and so forth, and you can bypass that really to an extent now, can't you?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and a lot of people are doing it, and it's becoming bigger and bigger, and some people are making a living actually out of just, they don't go near publishers at all. They just publish on ebooks, publish on Kindle, and some people can actually make a living out of it. So it's things have changed hugely in the last 5 years, I think. So I think there's a lot of people who are writing out there, and a lot of people will be interested in publishing a book, and really it's people will be surprised how easy it is in the end to do it.
Lorcan, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Caramel Gunning.